Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our valued guests, YWCA Australia team members and members of the community. It's a pleasure to be with you here all today. Thank you so much for joining our Reflect Reconciliation Action Plan launch. My name's Joanna Mallon and I'm the Director of Organisation Capability and People at YWCA. And I'm also the Chair of the RAP Working Group. For those who need it, closed captions are available through the controls at the bottom of your screen. Instructions on how to turn them on will be posted in the chat by a member of the YWCA team. I want to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands that we're meeting on. And for me, it's the lands of the Wallumadegal clan of the Darug Nation. And I acknowledge their connections to land, sea and community. I pay my respect to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I'd now like to invite Jane Yedica, who's a proud Minyungbul, Ugambi, Dunghutti and South Sea Islander person, to do an acknowledgement of country. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you, Jo. Jingala Wallu, Nanyanari Bilinga, Nanya Jenga, Nanyanarangil Bunanga Jargon, Nanya Minyungbul, Ugambi, Dunghutti, Mibin. Hello, how are you? How is your spirit? My name is Jane Yedica. I use she, they pronouns. My people are Minyungbul speakers of Ugambi country, Echidna country. This is my maternal country from Tweed Heads region in northern New South Wales. My father's country is Dunghutti in Kempsey, also New South Wales. My great-grandfather, William Yedica, was from Tanna Island in Vanuatu, and I take his surname to honour his legacy and to pay respect to my South Sea cultural identity. I'm an Indigenous consultant, storyteller and podcaster. I would like to thank YWCA Australia for inviting me to deliver the Acknowledgement of Country for this incredibly important event. Today, I'm honoured to be joining you from the lands of the Wiradjuri People, who are the traditional owners of the region now known as Cairns. I pay respect to their elders past and present, and to the neighbouring clan groups of this region. I acknowledge and pay deep respect to the many First Nations communities across this continent and acknowledge the traditional owners on the land in which you are joining us from. I recognise and respect the diverse and rich cultural heritage, beliefs, relationships and continuing connection that we have with country, language and kin. I want to take a moment to pay respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. We are the longest continuing culture in the world, and with that comes a deep spiritual, physical, social and cultural connection to country. The act of acknowledging country stems from ancient practices of seeking permission to move through somebody else's country, to access resources or to conduct ceremony or trade. And so it's important that we continue these practices to keep our cultures and identities strong, and so that we continue to recognise the rightful owners of the land. I invite you to take a moment to pause and reflect on your relationship with country, with the land, the waterways, the oceans, the plants and the animals. To consider the many different places you have lived, worked and studied, travelled across this continent, and to consider how country has contributed to your journey. I encourage you to think about the ways in which country has cared for you, country has nurtured you, and country has sustained you. We are country, and country is us. Dharawal country raised me. I learnt to walk on her soil and swim in her seas. For over 20 years, I was educated, guided, and challenged by that country. Born under the watchful eye of Grandmother Mountain Jira, I'm grateful for her teachings. Gadigal country was my home for 2 years, living in Sydney, the first contact site of colonisation and the heart of the city. Looking around, it's easy to forget, but country is still there. I was reminded when I saw the roots of gum trees breaking through the bitumen and heard the songs of birds singing above. Now I live on very different country, far away from the South Coast bushland I grew up knowing. This country is delivering me with many new lessons about different seasons, wet and dry, and flora and fauna that are worlds apart from the ones that I know. I pay respect to this country, Wiradjuri country. I invite you to reflect on how you can show up for country, how you can care for and nurture country, not just today, but every day. Today, this event is significant. YWCA Australia are launching their Reconciliation Action Plan. This is no small feat. There have been many years of hard work leading up to today. Their commitment is clear, a future where gender equality is a reality. But we cannot have that future until First Nations peoples are recognised and respected as the traditional custodians of the land, seas, skies of Australia. And not until our communities experience equality in health outcomes along with non-Indigenous Australians. YWCA Australia has a long history of working with Aboriginal communities and working towards these goals. This RAP is the next step in their journey to deepening their connections and expanding their understanding of First Nations cultures, histories, knowledges, and needs. And through this, they will continue to provide opportunities for First Nations, young women, and gender diverse people across the continent to live safely and securely in their homes, improving their well-being and strengthening our communities. I come from a long line of strong Black women. My mother gifted me their names. Their blood runs deep in my veins and their spirits are felt across this ancient land. It is a privilege to be raised by a culture that understands the power of Black women, where the women are recognised for their spiritual, mental, and emotional strengths and respected as leaders of their communities. Our women are healers. Our women are storytellers and knowledge holders. They're the caretakers of our communities and the protectors of our children. Many Black women have shaped me into the person I am today, and many more will contribute to my life in the years to come. And so I want to end this acknowledgement by showing my deep respect to all Black women, to acknowledge our old ones who have taught us so much, to acknowledge the special bond between mothers and daughters, aunties and nieces, and our titters, and to extend that acknowledgement and that respect to our gender diverse mob, my trans and non-binary siblings. We have always played a significant role in our culture and have been an integral part of our communities since the first sunrise. Reconciliation is about strengthening relationships. Reconciliation is about change. But in order to change, we must be willing to challenge the systems, the processes, and the views that are not inclusive of our communities, and to be open to different ways of knowing, being, and doing. As a community, we have incredible capacity to see through this change. And I know that the journey of reconciliation that YWCA has begun will continue to drive change for our First Nations communities all across this land. Thank you. Ngā mihi.
Thank you so much, Jane, for your moving acknowledgement of country and those powerful words. Just wonderful and great to have you with us today on this significant day for us. I'd now like to invite YWCA Australia's CEO, Michelle Phillips, to say a few words on the importance of reconciliation, both to YWCA and Australia as a whole. Over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Jo, and Jane, thank you so much for those powerful words. It actually made me think about my journey across the different lands. I grew up in the bush in central Queensland, and now I'm living on Gubbi Gubbi country by the sea. So thank you for making me think about that journey just then. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge traditional owners on the lands on which we are all joining from today. For me, that is the Larrakia people here in Darwin, and I acknowledge their connection to land, sea, and community. I pay respect to their elders past and present, and I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Today, we have gathered to launch YWCA Australia's first Reconciliation Action Plan, and I feel really privileged to be here with you at this significant moment for our organisation. We are blessed to live on and work on the lands of and amongst the oldest continuing culture in the world. The First Nations people of Australia have had over 60,000 years of caring for country, a vibrant and rich heritage that should be celebrated. They've remained strong in the face of colonialism, systemic racism, and discrimination. As an organisation with over 140-year plus history in Australia, we must acknowledge our colonial past and the impact that it actually has on reconciliation. We must understand that the consequences of colonisation are still felt today. The overrepresentation of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in housing risk is a direct and ongoing consequence of this history, and it is even more prevalent here in the Northern Territory. Reconciliation is about the past and the present, and reconciliation is also about building a better future together, one that is fair and equitable for all today. Today, YWCA Australia makes a formal commitment to making that a reality. Our Reflect RAP outlines the steps we'll take as a national organisation to achieve reconciliation. And these are big steps for us, and these are important steps. I would like to acknowledge the strong relationships that our program team members have made with First Nations people in their local communities, and a lot have joined us today. These form the foundations of this work. We see these relationships across Australia, in Adelaide on Kaurna land through our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Young Women's Leadership Program, in Lismore on Bundjalung country through Communities for Children, and right here in Darwin on Larrakia land. Through our Reflect RAP, we maintain the strong established relationships with First Nations people, and as well develop and grow opportunities with other First Nations organisations and individuals across Australia. When I think about how we're going to grow these relationships into the future, one of the housing developments in Bendigo, Victoria comes to mind. This is a housing project is being built predominantly to meet the needs of First Nations women and families in their area. To achieve this, we are working in partnership with an advisory group called YWCA from Jara. This group is made up of First Nations Jara women who are playing a crucial role in shaping the project, including feedback on the building design. They've also offered their expertise on the selection of plants and flowers to go on the property, and that hold symbolic significance to Mother Earth, women, children, families, and the womb, and they're interested in the actual planting process. Through the RAP, we will enable our team members and board members to be active in our reconciliation journey by providing appropriate training, education, and policies. We'll also review our hiring and other practices so First Nations Australians feel supported in working for YWCA Australia. We will explore ways to increase the number of First Nation businesses we engage with for goods and services in our regions and become a Sly Nations member. First Nations women and gender diverse people, especially young people, will lead us on this journey. We recognise they have their own unique needs and they are experts in their own lives. It is crucial that their voices are prioritised on matters that impact them. As we all know, reconciliation is an ongoing journey that requires commitment from all of us, both within YWCA Australia and the wider Australian society. I am proud that we're taking an important step on this journey today, and I look forward to seeing the action we've committed to grow and deepen as we work together towards a more equitable future for all. Lastly, I would personally like to thank each and every member of the Reconciliation Action Working Group for all their work leading us to this point. Now, let's watch a short video that they've actually created to share in their own words what Reconciliation Action Plan means to them.
Being part of the working group was my way of actively learning more on the steps that we need to take towards reconciliation, and that sovereignty was certainly never ceded.
Something I enjoyed about being part of the RAP was partnering with and working with our external advisors and experts. Crystal Kinsella, who guided our process, and Lani Balzan, who developed our beautiful artwork.
Having the opportunity to work with people across different parts of the organisation.
It was the opportunity to learn and reflect as an organisation, to think about our history and to acknowledge the strength and resilience of Aboriginal people and cultures.
Being able to work with a variety of people across our organisation and really seeing and feeling their passion come through on a subject that is such a deep priority, not only at YWCA, but in Australia as a whole.
Because it embeds the reconciliation work in everything that we do and ensures our work with First Nations people is meaningful and sustainable in the long term.
It demonstrates our commitment towards reconciliation and will help guide the steps that we take towards this aim.
It's about enabling respect and equity and acknowledgement, strength and solidarity.
It's one of the many steps forward as a community towards reconciliation, and it's raising awareness amongst broader parts of the community as well.
So that we can demonstrate that we're all part of the solution to the problem.
The work we will do to grow First Nations employment across the organisation and to actually strengthen our various support services and programs and our corporate services as well.
One of the concrete things that will come out of the RAP for us here in the hotel business is we've joined up as a Supply Nation member, and we'll be sourcing more products where we can from First Nations supplier.
Implementing the action plan and deliverables across the property development side of the organisation.
The deepening and strengthening of relationships with First Nations peoples in the communities we work in.
First Nations employees, our community stakeholders and service providers, all thriving in an environment where equity and empowerment is a reality.
It's been such a great experience chairing our RAP working group, and the group consists of team members from a wide variety of roles across the organisation. I'm really looking forward to seeing how we work within our own teams, but then across the organisation as well, to really bring the key outcomes of the RAP to life over the next 12 months. To visualise the commitment and to breathe some life into the RAP document, we engaged Lani Balzan, an Aboriginal artist and graphic designer. Lani is a proud Aboriginal woman from the Wiradjuri people of the Three River tribe. You can see her beautiful artwork in my virtual background, and Michelle's, and Crystal, who's going to be talking soon as well. Unfortunately, Lani is not able to join us today, but she has recorded a message for us to share on the artwork creation and the importance of reconciliation. So we'll hear from Lani now.
Well, I'm a proud Wiradjuri woman, but I grew up all over Australia. I'm very humble and proud of my culture, and I enjoy sharing it. I was the 2016 NAIDOC poster winner. So Songlines was my artwork. I've done lots of artworks for the Dragons and basketball teams, and every time I paint something or design something, I create not just something to look at, but this beautiful story to share with everyone. My passion really is doing raps, going on that journey with whatever business or organisation that I'm working with, and helping them tell their own personal story and journey of what they want to achieve. The artwork itself, using your colour palette, was very feminine and very connecting to the organisation itself. So the colours blended really well, and the whole connection coming together in the middle, which was the main, your main colour purple. That was important for the gathering symbols. And then I made sure, you had all your values. And then, all the areas, the 16 areas that you located. And just the story behind it, how YWCA wants to achieve with the bigger picture of their RAP, and how they're going to do it, and the pathways to the future. So it's a story that comes together. So it starts sort of in the middle, and then it branches out, telling the whole story. The clients are the focus, and you guys are outside working in. And when I was creating that work, I was telling a couple of friends, oh yeah, I'm doing this for YWCA, and they all were, oh, they're such a great organisation, they do this. So I had friends that actually had done some work with you guys. So yeah, it was really nice to, they could connect to that too, because they had experienced or knew your organisation. So I hope that it brightens other people to be drawn to learn about what you guys do.
It was great to be able to hear from Lani in her own words about the creation process. So I encourage you all to seek out a copy of the RAP to admire Lani's artwork, and also to understand the actions we'll be taking over the next 12 months or so. Printed copies of our RAP will be circulated to each of our regional offices. You can also download a copy of our RAP from our website, and for our YT members, it's also going to be on our national portal. Of course, the RAP wouldn't have come together without the support we've had of First Nations consultant Crystal Kinsella. Crystal is a proud and passionate Indigenous business leader and owner who is an expert at connecting people and moving them into action. Crystal has worked with well-known global businesses and every level of government to drive their supply diversity efforts, helping them develop procurement plans, upskill their teams, and have a positive impact on their communities. I'd like to now invite Crystal to say a few words.
Thanks so much, Jo, for having me here today. And I just wanted to extend a big hello and thank you to Jane for her acknowledgement. I'm joining you on Bib High Country on the mid-north coast of New South Wales today, and I pay my respects to elders, both past and present. Look, a RAP is only, the RAP plan itself is only one part of the journey you're about to embark on. RAPs are a really important part of reconciliation in Australia, and that's because they provide a framework that's really tangible for organisations like YWCA to be able to set a pathway forward around strengthening relationships between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and non-Indigenous Australians, and creating opportunities. And so this Reflect level RAP is, the first step on a very long journey. The RAP part, which we're really proud to launch today, is that first component. But it's really about the relationships, and it was really lovely to see the video play of the working group. And it made me really happy to see all your smiling faces because of the relationships that we were able to build during the time that I was working with YWCA around this process. So, over several months, we worked together around the drafting of the RAP plan, and exploring what that meant, and getting people's awareness and understanding around this commitment and what it meant and what was going to be required in the implementation phase of that. I also had a really important role around the engagement of First Nations staff across YWCA, and in making sure that their voices were heard as part of this process in the drafting, that their level of awareness and what's going to be required in the next steps and the next stages. So absolutely incredible. I'm really, really proud to see you get to this point in launching this RAP. I really wish such great things for your journey moving forward in the work that you do, and supporting women and all across Australia, and creating some opportunities for First Nations women, particularly in that respect. I just wanted to really, I know I've only got a few minutes to speak, but I mean, there are a couple of really powerful things that James said that I just wanted to reflect on, and reflecting back around, we are the healers, the storytellers, the protectors of our children, and we do play such a critical role in our families. And Aboriginal women across Australia are the most legally disadvantaged, and so having YWCA as an organisation as it is, and the work that you do in trying to keep women safe, providing housing and opportunities for education, leadership development, I think can only go a really long way. I come also from a long line of women, and would be very amiss of me not to acknowledge the Black matriarchs that have gone before us, because it's our great-grandmothers, our grandmothers, our mothers, our sisters, our aunties, all of those that we walk on their shoulders. So very big congratulations to YWCA. I wish you all the best. I really look forward to hearing some great things about the opportunities that you create all around. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Crystal, and for your lovely words there as well. And I suppose I echo your thoughts. This is just the start of our journey. So, we've got a long way to go, but we're really excited about the prospect of what we can achieve. But thanks again for your invaluable guidance as we developed the Reflect RAP. We're grateful for your support, and look forward to continue our relationship and continue working with you as we turn the words of our plan into meaningful actions. And with that, I'd like to conclude today's launch of our Reconciliation Action Plan. A copy of the RAP is available through the link in the chat, and a follow-up email is also going to be sent to all our attendees today with a link to our RAP document. On behalf of YWCA Australia, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of you for joining us today. Reconciliation is a crucial part of our vision of a future where gender equality is a reality, and we recognise that we cannot achieve this vision without First Nations justice. Let's continue to work together towards a brighter, more equitable future for all. And thank you so much for joining us.